All right, welcome back. Inflation rose 9.1% in June, even more than expected. And this despite the fastest series of interest rate hikes since the late 1980s to try and slow the price spikes. Local financial professional John Vandergriff from Blue Ridge Wealth Planners joining us right now to talk a little bit about the ongoing inflation issues and, of course, to share some money-saving strategies that can help you out in the long run. So first of all, the latest report. What do we take away from this? What would it show?
Well, it's still going up.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us were hopeful that the measures that they had taken so far were working.
Right.
And the numbers haven't shown it. And just because those numbers aren't showing it doesn't mean that those things aren't starting to turn the tide. It just hasn't been reflected in that year-over-year number. Because when you look at long-term history, raising interest rates is the solution to bringing down inflation. Sure. It's just there's a pretty big difference between where those inflation rates are today and where that interest rate level is on the Fed rate.
Yeah. And speaking of the Fed, what's next then? I mean, what's the next move here?
Right. So they're going to raise interest rates next week. We just don't know how much.
Right.
Most people are anticipating 1%, which is the biggest they've done this year. And so, again, time will tell kind of what they do, but they know based on the inflation data, they're going to have to go more aggressive than they have to try to get that number to start to turn down instead of slowly increasing over time.
Yeah, got to finally make that turn somewhere, right?
Yep.
That downwards trend. As far as people sitting at home right now, obviously we're seeing this, we're hearing this, the inflation numbers and what have you. What can we do? I mean, what do we need to do as far as staying within the budget? How can we manage our money and not come out of this, crying in the corner somewhere, right?
Well, we've got to focus on the things we can control. Yeah. Like, obviously, we can't control what the price of oil is, but we can do some things as far as looking at our budget, seeing if there are areas where we can reduce some costs, and maybe try to do some comparison shopping. I was driving around the East Tennessee area, and it's amazing, depending on where you go, you can see a variance in 30 cents in gas. Per gallon. So comparison shopping there, both online and either stores or gas stations like we talked about. Taking advantage of reward programs. As long as you don't, especially with credit cards, get into a position where you start racking up debt. Paying those things off can give you some benefits that you can use on the short term. And then the main thing we've been preaching to people is just stay invested. Right now, company corporate profit levels are higher than they've been historically. And so that's not reflected right now in the stock price because a lot of people are scared selling stuff that they maybe shouldn't be selling. But in the long run, you're going to see those corporate profits probably impact the stock price of what you're in. So staying the course is really the job of any good financial advisor. As long as you've built a plan, sticking to the plan, because when things are good, it's easy to stick to the plan. When things are bad, you need somebody to remind you to do that.
And I guess that comes back to just don't panic.
Yeah,
like you said, stick to that plan. I know we all want to know when the inflation is going to turn here, when everything's going to start going back down. But is it really tough to see in the crystal ball right now? I know you were saying, hey, maybe the Fed's going to jack it up a little bit more, but any idea, any feeling?
Some economists are looking at maybe the beginning of 2023. But as we look at it, it will eventually work.
Sure.
Raising those interest rates will bring it down. It's just what kind of ripple effects is that going to cause throughout our economy? Our hope is that it starts working sooner rather than later, like everybody else's.
Like you said, just stick to that plan.
Stick to the plan.
And we'll get through it. All right.